Greetings, Israel. Since so many people enjoyed my reading of 2 Ezra chapters 4 through 9, I'm going to continue that reading all the way through chapter 16. So we're going to cover chapters 10 through 12 today, and our patrons will get early release, and then we will subsequently release it to the general population later. So let's begin. 2 Ezra chapter 10. On the wedding night, when my son entered the bedroom, he dropped dead. So we put out all the wedding lamps, and all my neighbors came to comfort me. I remained in control of myself until the evening of the second day, when they all left. That night, I got up and came out to this field, as you see. I have decided never to return to that town. I'm going to stay here in constant mourning, neither eating nor drinking anything until I die. When she told me this, I put aside my own thoughts and spoke sharply to her. You are the most foolish woman I ever met. Don't you see what our people are suffering? Don't you know all that has happened to us? Jerusalem, the mother of us all, is overcome with grief and shame. You ought to be mourning for her and sharing the grief and sorrow of all of us. But you are mourning for that one son of yours. Ask the earth, let her tell you that she is the one who ought to be mourning for the vast multitudes of people that she has brought to birth. All of us who are living came originally from her, and there are more to come. Almost all of us go straight to destruction. The vast multitude of earth's children are lost. So who has more right to mourn? You for your one son, or the earth which has lost so many? I know what you are thinking. You think that your sorrow is worse than the earth's. You think that it is only natural for earth's multitudes to live and then die. But you have lost your own flesh and blood, which you brought to birth with such trouble and pain. But let me tell you that from the time God created the earth, she has suffered as much in producing human beings for God as you did in childbirth. So keep your tears to yourself and be brave about what has happened to you. If you will accept God's decision as just, you will get your son back at the right time, and you will receive the praise due a mother. Go back to the city and to your husband. No, she answered, I will never go back. I am going to stay here and die. Don't do that, I continued. Consider the misfortunes and sorrows of Jerusalem, and you won't feel so sorry for yourself. You can see that our place of worship is in ruins. Our altar has been torn down. Our temple has been destroyed. Our musical instruments lie quiet. Our hymns have been silenced. Our joy has ended. The light of the sacred lamp has been put out. Our covenant box has been carried off. Our sacred utensils have been desecrated. The name of God has been profaned. Our leaders have been dishonored. Our priests have been burned to death. Our Levites have been taken captive. Our virgins have been raped. Our wives have been violated. Our devout men have been carried off. Our children have been abandoned. Our young people have been made slaves. And our strong soldiers have been made helpless. Worst of all, Jerusalem, once marked as God's own city, has lost its glory and has been handed over to our enemies. So put aside all your sorrow and grief. May God Most High, the Almighty, be merciful to you and give you peace. May He give you rest from your troubles. While I was speaking to the woman, her face suddenly began to shine with a light that flashed like lightning. I was afraid to stand near her and wondered what all this meant. Suddenly she let out a loud and terrifying cry that shook the earth. When I looked up, I could no longer see the woman. but there was a city built on huge foundations. I was afraid and shouted, "Where is the angel Uriel who came to me earlier?" It is his fault that I am so confused. My prayer is useless, and I have nothing to hope for but death. I was still speaking when the angel Uriel appeared again. He saw me, lying there unconscious like a corpse. So he took hold of my right hand, gave me strength, and stood me on my feet. Then he asked, "What's the matter? Why are you so disturbed and confused?" I answered, "You abandoned me completely." "I did as you told me and came out to this field, but I cannot explain what I am seeing." "Stand up straight," he answered, "and I will explain it to you." "Sir," I answered, "please explain it to me. I will die in my frustration if you leave me, for I cannot understand what I have seen and heard. Or is my mind playing tricks on me? And is this just a bad dream? I beg you, sir, tell me what this vision means." The angel said, "Now listen closely, and I will explain the meaning of these things that you fear. God Most High has revealed many secrets to you, because he has seen that you have lived a righteous life and have always grieved and mourned for your people and for Jerusalem. This is what the vision means. A woman appeared to you a little while ago, and when you saw that she was mourning, you tried to console her. The woman told you about the death of her son. Then she vanished from your sight, and a whole city appeared. This is the meaning. The woman you saw is Jerusalem. What you now see is a completed city. When she told you that for 30 years she had had no children, it meant that for 3,000 years no offerings had yet been made there. Then Solomon built the city, and sacrifices began to be offered there. At that time the childless woman gave birth to her son. When she told you that she took great care in bringing the son up, that referred to the period when Jerusalem was inhabited. When she told you of the death of her son on the wedding day, that meant the destruction of Jerusalem. So in the vision you saw how she mourned for her son, and you tried to console her for what had happened. This is what was to be revealed to you. When God Most High saw that you were grieving for the woman with all your heart and soul, he showed you all her glory and majestic beauty. That is why I told you to go and stay in the field where no one had ever lived, for I knew that God Most High was going to show you these things. I told you to go to the field where no foundation had ever been built, because nothing built by human hands could stand in the place where the city of God Most High was about to be revealed. So don't be afraid. Go into the city and look at its beautiful and majestic buildings. See as much as you can. After that, you will hear as much as you can. You are more fortunate than most people, and only a few have the reputation with God Most High that you have. Remain here until tomorrow night, and he will show you in dreams and visions what he plans to do for those who will be living on the earth in the last days. So I slept there that night and the next as I had been told. Chapter 11. The second night I had a dream. I saw an eagle coming up out of the sea. It had 12 wings and 3 heads. As I looked, it spread out its wings over the whole world. Winds blew on it from every direction, and clouds gathered over it. Then from its wings I saw rival wings begin to grow, but they were small and insignificant. All 3 heads of the eagle were asleep, even the middle one, which was larger than the others. While I was watching, the eagle flew up in the air and became ruler of the whole earth and all its people. I saw how everything on earth was brought under the eagle's control. No one on earth was able to oppose it. Then I saw the eagle stand up on its claws and saw to its wings. Not all of you are to wake up at the same time. You must sleep where you are and wake up when your turn comes. And the heads must wake up last. I looked again and saw that the voice was not coming from any of the eagle's heads, but from the middle of its body. I counted its rival wings, and there were 8 of them. I saw one of the wings on the right side rise up and govern the whole world. After its rule came to an end, it vanished so completely that it left no trace. Then the next wing rose up and governed for a long time. When its rule was coming to an end, and it was about to vanish like the first wing, a voice said to it, "Listen, you have ruled the world for a long time, and I want you to hear this message before you disappear. No one after you will rule as long as you did, not even half as long." The third wing rose up and governed as the earlier ones had done. Then it also vanished. The same thing happened to all the other wings. One after the other they rose to power and then vanished. I kept looking, and after a while the other small wings on the right side rose up to seize power. Some of them governed briefly and quickly disappeared, while others rose up but were never able to govern. Then I noticed that the 12 large wings and 2 of the small wings had disappeared. Nothing was left on the eagle's body except the 3 sleeping heads and the 6 small wings. I kept watching, and suddenly 2 of the 6 small wings left the others and moved under the head on the right side, while the other 4 remained where they were. Then I saw that these 4 small wings were plotting to rise up and seize power. One of them rose up, but it quickly disappeared. The second one also rose up, but it disappeared even more quickly than the first. I saw that the 2 remaining small wings, were also plotting to seize control for themselves. While they were making their plans, one of the sleeping heads suddenly awoke. It was the one in the middle, the one that was larger than the other 2. Then I saw that it was joined by the other heads. And when it turned to eat up the 2 little wings that were planning to seize power, the other 2 heads helped it. This head gained power over the whole world, established an oppressive rule over people everywhere, and it exercised more power over the world than any of the other wings had done before. Then, as I watched, the middle head disappeared just as suddenly as the wings had done. 2 heads were left, and they also gained power over the earth and its people. But while I was still watching, the head on the right ate up the head on the left. Then I heard a voice which said, "Ezra, look straight ahead and think about what you see." I looked and saw what appeared to be an angry lion come roaring out of the forest. I heard it speak in human language to the eagle and say, "Listen, eagle, to what I have to say to you. It is the message of God Most High. You are the only one left of the 4 animals that I appointed to govern my world and to bring the ages of this world to an end. You are the 4th animal, and you have conquered all the animals that came before you. As long as you have been in this world, you have ruled it through terror, oppression, and deceit, with a total disregard for truth. You have viciously attacked harmless people who were living in peace. You have hated those who spoke the truth, and you have loved liars. You have destroyed the homes of those who were prosperous and have torn down the walls of those who did you no harm. God Most High knows how proud and arrogant you are. The Almighty One has looked back over the world he established. The end has come. The final age is over. So, eagle, the time has come for you to vanish, along with your big, terrible wings, your small, wicked wings, your evil heads, your awful claws, and your whole worthless body. The entire world will be set free from your violence and renewed as it sets its hope on the judgment and mercy of God who created it. Chapter 12. While the lion was speaking in this way to the eagle, I looked and saw that the last head of the eagle was gone. Then the two small wings that had moved over to that head rose up to govern. But their rule was short and full of trouble. They disappeared before my eyes, and the whole body of the eagle burst into flames, and the world was terrified. I was so disturbed and so afraid that I woke up. I said, I have brought this on myself because I have tried to study the ways of God Most High. I am mentally exhausted and completely worn out. The terrible fears I have experienced this night have taken my last bit of strength. All I can do now is pray to God Most High to give me strength until the end. Then I prayed, Master and Lord, if it is true that you consider me more righteous than many others, and if you hear my prayers, then I beg you, give me strength. Show me, O Lord, the full meaning of this terrifying vision, and set my mind at ease. After all, you did consider me worthy to be shown the end of this age. God's angel said to me, here is the interpretation of the vision you saw. The eagle you saw coming up out of the sea represents the fourth kingdom in the vision that your brother Daniel saw. But he was not given the same interpretation of it that I am giving you. The time is coming when an empire will be established on earth that is more terrible than any before it. 12 kings will rule over it, one after the other. The second king will rule longer than any of the others. That is the meaning of the 12 wings that you saw. You heard the voice speaking from the middle of the eagle's body instead of from its head. That means that after the rule of the second king, a great struggle for power will take place, and the empire will be in danger of breaking up. But that will not happen, and the empire will regain its earlier power. You saw the earth's small wings growing out of the eagle's big wings. That means that 8 kings will rise up in the empire, but their rule will be brief and unimportant. 2 of them will appear briefly near the middle of the period. 4 of them will not appear until near the end, and 2 will be left until the very end. You saw the 3 heads that were asleep. That means that in the last days of the empire, God Most High will raise up 3 kings. They will restore much of the empire and rule over the world and its people with more harshness than any before them. The reason they are called the eagle's heads is that these 3 kings will bring to a head and complete the godless work of the eagle. You saw the largest head disappear. This means that one of the kings will die in his bed in great agony. The other 2 will die in battle. One of them will kill the other. Then he also will be killed in battle at the end of time. You saw the 2 small wings moving under the head on the right side. That means that God Most High has kept them until the end. But their rule was short and full of trouble, as you saw. You saw the angry lion come roaring out of the forest, and you heard it speak to the eagle and rebuke it for the evil that it had done and for all that it had said. The lion represents the Messiah, whom God Most High has held back until the end. He will be a descendant of David and will come and speak to the rulers. He will rebuke them for their wickedness, their sinfulness, and their contempt for God's ways. While they are still living, he will bring them to judgment, condemn them for their sin, and destroy them. But he will have mercy on the rest of my people. Those who are left in my land, he will set them free and make them happy until the end comes. The judgment day about which I told you at the beginning. That is the dream you had, and that it is its interpretation. But you are the only one that God Most High has considered worthy to reveal this secret to. So write in a book everything you saw and put it in a safe hiding place. Then teach these secrets to those who are wise among your people, those who will be able to understand them and keep them secret. But you must stay here 7 more days so that God Most High may reveal to you whatever he wishes. Then the angel left me. When the 7 days had passed and all the people heard that I had not returned to the city, all of them, rich and poor, came and asked me, "What wrong have we done to you? How have we mistreated you? Why have you abandoned us and settled down in this place? You are the only one of all the prophets who is left. You are like the last bunch of grapes in a vineyard, like a lantern in a dark place, like a safe harbor for a ship in a storm. Haven't we suffered enough already? If you abandon us, it would have been better if we had died like the others in the fire that destroyed Jerusalem. We are no better than those who died." Then they all started crying loudly. I answered, "Be brave, Israel. Put away your sorrow. God Most High will keep you in mind. The Almighty One has not forgotten you in all your troubles. And I haven't left you or abandoned you. I came here to pray for Jerusalem in time of trouble and to ask mercy for her and for your temple now in disgrace. Please return to your homes, all of you. I will come back to you in a few days." So they left me and went back to the city. I stayed in the field for 7 days as the angel had commanded me. I ate nothing but wild flowers. I was a vegetarian in those days. Okay, so that's the end of chapter 12. We're going to continue later with the remaining chapters. So support us at Patreon and you can have early access to these releases. You can follow us at teoministries.ning.com in the social group and at patreon.com/TEOTW, Teo. Okay, Teo means the end of the world, such as, you ever heard of the phrase Teotihuacan, the end of the world as we know it? That's where it comes from. The end of the world as we know it. So it's shortened to Teo, the end of the world, TEOTW. Peace and blessings, Israel. Shalom.